Hello guys. Welcome back to the Raw and Real Conversations podcast with your host, Evan Youngblood-Williams here. So today we're going to be talking about how hustle culture is bullcrap. And I'm going to do it reaction style. So hope you guys like it.
The entrepreneur of yourself, the never-ending race. In today's society, the old boss no longer stands over you with a whip or rigid rules. Instead, you've become your own boss, an entrepreneur of yourself. This sounds empowering at first. You have freedom, choice, and endless possibility. But this freedom is a double-edged sword. It's not about relaxing into life. It's about constantly improving, growing, performing, without pause or finish line. The problem is this: an entrepreneur never stops. There's always a next level, another skill to master, a new habit to develop.
And see, we can get caught up in that trap. And Lord knows I've gotten caught up in that trap more times than I can count. Because whenever I would be creating content in the past, I would always pressure myself to always be creating, always, constantly, day in and day out. And there was a long period of time to where I just felt so burnt out to where it didn't even feel fun anymore. And I low key wanted to quit creating content for a while because I was listening to guys like Gary Vee and Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone and all the rest of those big names that keep pushing this hustle culture bullcrap. And you as well as every other entrepreneur knows that there's constantly this push to always be grinding our face off day in and day out. And that is so fucking toxic. And what you need to do is to follow your soul and your intuition. And first of all, listen to the creator. I was reading the Bible last night to where it said in Proverbs, I don't remember the exact verse, but it said, do not wear yourself out to be rich. So, you know, if the good book says that, do not wear yourself out to be rich, that is very, very significant. So what if instead of following the script of hustle culture that constantly tells you to grind your face off, what if you instead just let go and let God and just trust in the process? Let God or the creator, whoever you believe in, help you out. You got to let that happen. You've already tried the hustle culture approach and it didn't work. Let's try to, it's time to try something different. Anyways, let's get back to the video before I ramble on too long.
Even your leisure time has become part of this performance cycle. Reading a book is no longer just for pleasure. It's productive reading. Meditation isn't
Facts.
simply calm. It's a tool to optimize your brain. Exercise isn't a hobby. It's a mandate. Sleep itself has transformed into a performance metric. Measured, optimized, hacked. You don't just live. You manage yourself. Like a business, every minute is accounted for. Your to-do list is never complete. Your goals constantly stretch further.
And see, that's the rat race that we keep ourselves in. Isn't it ironic that they always push entrepreneurship as a means of escaping the rat race? Only difference is, instead of you having to commute to work every day for 5 days a week, working 40 hours a week, now you're putting yourself on the hamster wheel. I mean, in reality, you're putting yourself on the hamster wheel either way while working a 9 to 5 or starting a business and whatnot. So it's either somebody else has you on a hamster wheel, aka your boss, or you're just putting yourself on that hamster wheel by way like the creator said. You know, every minute of sleep is accounted for. Every minute in your life is accounted for. Your to-do list never ends. Guys, that is an exhausting way to live. The name of the game here is freedom on the inside and on the outside. And so constantly feeling like you have to work is the reason why you keep getting sick and why you keep getting burnt out.
Your self-expectations grow heavier. And when you falter, when exhaustion, anxiety, or
Oh Lord, what's going on? All right, guys, bear with me. I don't know what's going on with the signal, but
burnout set in, the blame
Okay,
falls squarely
cool.
on you. After all, no one forced you. This is your own self-demand. But this internalized pressure is the cruelest kind of oppression. It's a silent.
He said it correctly. He summed it up right. It's oppression that you put yourself through. You see what I'm saying? Like I said in the last episode, you are in prison and you don't even realize it.
Silent war waged inside your mind, a war where you are both general and soldier, jailer and prisoner. The walls of your prison are invisible, but built of endless
Mm-hmm.
expectations, performance metrics,
Dang, what's going on with the video, man? I don't know what's going on, y'all. Did not expect this to happen. All right, so I'm gonna wait for that to do what it does. But yeah, this hustle culture thing, man, has had us all brainwashed and all effed over. And it's a psyop designed to keep us working, 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 working until the day that we die. And that's not a sustainable way to live. And a lot more people are speaking out against it. And I'm glad to see it because for years and years and years, especially like in the around the early to mid 2010s, it it was like a huge push. I remember this back in high school, man, when I was seeing Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone and the rest of them constantly saying, you have to grind, 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 grind. Just grind your face off. And now that I'm 28 years old, I'm a little bit older. I know better because I've lived a little more. I see, you know, now that I'm approaching life from the fact that time is precious. And if you spend it all your time just working all the time and not spending any time with your family, any time with your friends, or any time with people that you say that you care for, you're gonna wind up dying alone because you're a stranger in their lives practically because you're never there because you're always working, but never nurturing the important relationships that feed your soul.
war waged inside your mind, a war where you are both general and soldier, jailer and prisoner. The walls of your prison are invisible, but built of endless expectations, performance metrics, and relentless productivity. You can no longer tell where society's demands end and where your own self-demands begin. This ceaseless
Yep.
self-exploitation drains your mind, body, and soul. The model is unsustainable because it denies something essential to human life: rest, pause, and simply being. It's not natural to live in
Yes.
constant conflict with yourself, to never allow room for failure, boredom, or silence. And so, you're caught in a trap, running on a treadmill that accelerates endlessly, exhausting you physically and emotionally. Freedom has turned into a demand for continuous achievement. This is the paradox
Mm-hmm.
of the modern entrepreneur cell. The very freedom you think you have is actually a new form of cage, and the race never stops. The tyranny of positivity, when yes you can, becomes a trap. Our era no longer suffers from classic oppression by external authorities, but is dominated by a far more insidious force: the tyranny of positivity. Instead of being told what we cannot do, we are overwhelmed by the imperative that we must smile, must be happy, must produce, must optimize, must constantly improve. The new command.
Yep. And that is the new trap. That is definitely facts because I've fell into that trap more than one time. Because I remember when I was in high school making my content, I remember just practicing false enthusiasm. And speaking of false enthusiasm, when I was playing basketball in high school, whenever we would be at practice, Coach Hornsby will always say, have some false enthusiasm. But the thing about that is that you're not staying true to yourself and staying true to how you feel in a moment. Yes, I get that you shouldn't let your feelings dictate what you do in a moment, that you should be disciplined enough to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. But at the same time, you cannot be suppressing your feelings. And if you're not feeling positive right now, you need to acknowledge that and accept that. You need to accept that because that's how you feel in the moment. You're not going to always be smiling and be positive, and you should never, ever force yourself to be positive all the time because you're not a machine. You're only human. Or let me correct myself. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And while you're having this human experience, you need to allow yourself to feel the full array of emotions and feelings and think the thoughts that you think. The point here is to be authentic. And what hustle culture teaches you is that you need to have false positivity all the time. And that's where positivity, ironically, becomes toxic because you're forcing it instead of allowing it. All right, let's get back to the video.
And as an unyielding, yes, you can, and that demand corrodes from within. This positivity is no longer uplifting. It has become an oppressive regime that does not tolerate failure, sadness, or pause. You're told to always be motivated, always be productive, always be your best self. The pressure to perform joyfully and tirelessly has become unbearable. The irony, the very message meant to inspire makes you sick. Depression, anxiety, ADHD, and burnout have ceased to be individual problems. They are now social symptoms. These conditions reflect a collective psyche worn down by the endless demands of performance and positivity. You are expected to celebrate every moment, but inside, you are collapsing. The cruelty of this model is that it blames the individual. If you're tired, unmotivated, or overwhelmed, the fault lies solely with you. Your lack of willpower, your laziness, your failure to align with the ideal. The system offers no space for vulnerability or rest. It demands constant acceleration. You become a caricature of motivation, smiling on the outside, exhausted inside. Genuine feelings of sadness, frustration, or fatigue are hidden or denied. This false positivity disconnects you from your authentic self. It demands performance, not just in work, but in joy, presence, and happiness. Social media amplifies this effect. Every scroll confronts you with images of success, wellness, and achievement, heightening feelings of inadequacy. Your worth is measured by how well you keep up, how much you produce, how happy you appear. This toxic positivity is a modern disease. It empties the soul by denying the full spectrum of human experience. The silence, the doubt, the stillness, the grief. And until we learn to say no to this relentless yes, we continue running faster on a treadmill that only speeds up. Self-exploitation, when you become your own taskmaster. In today's world, the harshest form of control no longer comes from outside authorities or bosses. Instead, it's a form of self-exploitation. You have become your own taskmaster, your own executioner. The pressure to perform, create, innovate, and constantly improve now originates from within.
And see, that's where self-improvement becomes toxic if you're not careful, because you're doing it from a place of lack, a feeling of lack and limitation instead of a place of genuine joy and genuine improvement. And so while I have this video paused, you can go ahead and pause this video and ask yourself this hard question. Am I trying to improve myself because I enjoy doing it and because that's a natural part of life? Or am I trying to improve myself to impress other people and to fill a hole inside of my soul? And the only way that you can fill the hole inside of your soul is by filling your own cup with your self-love and the love of the creator. That's the only way that you can fill that void. Because if you're thinking that self-improvement will all of a sudden make you happier and make your problems go away, it won't. I promise you it won't. The gurus lied to you. All the gurus in the past and in the present and the ones that will come up in the future lied to you. They told you a bunch of lies and telling you that if only you self-improve, if only you self-improve, then you'll be happier. You got to get out of that mindset and learn to just embrace the moment, be present, love it, embrace it, because that's why it is called the present, because it is a gift just to be alive. Everything else is a bonus. But anyways, let me continue the rest of this video, y'all. I don't want to keep y'all here too long.
Are no longer just a person living your life. You have become a project, a brand, an investment. It's no longer enough to exist. You must optimize every part of yourself, sell yourself, reinvent yourself endlessly. This pressure isn't imposed by a boss or government anymore. It's internalized and self-directed. Byung-Chul Han calls this phenomenon self-exploitation. You demand productivity from yourself and punish yourself when you fall short. Productivity becomes obedience. Self-discipline becomes self-surveillance. You think you're free because you can choose your goals, but all the available options lead.
Yep, you really ain't free. You're not free unless you're free all the way in your mind. You know, your body is free and your soul is free, but you got to get your mind unshackled. If you get when you get your mind unshackled, you become really unstoppable. You see what I'm saying? See, these psyops are so slick that they don't even have to put whips and chains on us anymore because we do it to our own selves. And it's just like back in the slave days when the slave masters realized when that the slaves can keep themselves oppressed and they fight amongst one another. They're too busy doing that to recognize the game that's going on. And it's a similar vibe of what's going on in modern times to where people are working nonstop. Even when they're off work, they're still at work, if you know what I mean. And it just never stops. It never, ever, ever, ever stops. Their mind is always wasting thinking about what their next move is, how they're going to pay their next bill, how they can make more income. And that's all well and good. But if you spend too much time doing that and not enough time in enjoying life, then you're really fucking yourself in the end. And I'm going to speak from personal experience to where, in the current job that I work in the Department of Corrections, as a my job. And for the first 2 years, I was working overtime 5 days a week for 2 years straight. 2 years straight, guys. Overtime, all 5 days of the work week. And now I'm taking a different approach to where I'm slowing up a lot. Not a lot, but just a little bit. I'm taking my foot off the gas on that. Why? So I can do more of this, creating content for you guys that hopefully helps you elevate. Sorry for typing on my man. I gotta stop doing that. Anyways, hopefully this content will help you to elevate along your path into, you know, self-realization. Because that's the goal of this podcast is to tell my personal story and to also get other people on this podcast to tell their stories and also react to different types of content on this channel to help you guys to have a different perspective because life is not just all about work. You know, you can work and you play, which is going to be one of my next episodes. Probably not the next one, probably sometime in the future. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm going to decide. I'm going to have to decide on what I want to create next. But you get what I'm saying, right? I really do hope that you get what I'm saying and really picking up what I'm putting down because, you know, if you're on that self-created hamster wheel, you need to get off it ASAP. But yeah, let me go ahead and continue the rest of the video. We almost through.
To the same place. More work, more stress, more exhaustion. Even what once offered refuge, your body, relationships, spirituality, rest, has been colonized by this logic of performance. The body is a machine to be optimized. Relationships become networking opportunities. Spirituality becomes coaching. And rest is only valuable if it helps you produce more. Your free time is commodified, analyzed, and maximized. You are essentially a one-person company whose only employee is yourself, running 24/7, chasing deadlines, expectations, and an impossible ideal. This relentless internal pressure leads to existential overload. You are everywhere but nowhere at once, constantly present to tasks, but absent from yourself. You are functioning, but not truly.
See, he said it. He said it right. You're absent from yourself. How many of us have been absent from ourselves our whole lives? Hmm? How many of us have been absent? You know you've been absent from your life. Lord knows I've been absent from my own life for way too damn long. And right now, I'm just now getting back into being present with myself, getting to know myself, getting to know what my needs, my genuine needs and wants and goals are. And you have to do the same thing for yourself. Well, really, you don't have to do anything. You can do what you want to do because you're grown as fuck. But I'm just saying, like, I highly suggest that you become present more with yourself and get to know self so that you can escape this expectation, or let's not say escape, but break free of all the chains of the expectations that society has put on you and those that you put upon yourself that is not helping you nor serving you in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, let's get back to this video. Let's wrap it up.
living. Deep inside, you know the harder you try to fit into this ideal of success, the further you drift from who you really are. The question emerges, what have you lost in the process? What parts of yourself have been silenced, ignored, or forgotten? This exhaustion, this collapse of the self under endless demands, is not a personal failure, but a societal symptom. It signals a crisis not just of individuals, but of the very structure of modern life, a structure built on self-exploitation disguised as freedom. The true act of freedom and rebellion today might be the courage to stop, to say no, to refuse the imperative of always doing, producing, optimizing, and smiling through exhaustion. Saying no is not weakness or failure. It is resistance. It is reclaiming your life from the machine of endless productivity. It is choosing presence over performance, rest over rush, being over doing. This refusal breaks the cycle of self-exploitation. It opens a path to healing and reconnection with your true self. In a world that demands constant yes, the power to say no becomes radical and transformative.
Mm-hmm.